I was in high school, and like all math and science geeks at the time, I was reading science fiction. So I was just reading a lot of science fiction. Not really horror stuff, but a lot of science fiction. And Lovecraft fell into that genre. I found Lovecraft through science fiction, not through horror. It made perfect sense to me. He was cutting edge science, actually, as scientifically interesting and as powerfully weird as anything anybody else was writing. So it stuck. Stuart and I met in high school. I was a science geek, and he was an art geek. We met because I was interested in literature to some degree, as well as science. I was a science and math major, physics major, and physics and math major. Because I was interested in science, in literature as well as science, I sort of gravitated toward. There was a theater club, and I gravitated to the theater club because I knew a couple of people in it who were really funny. And through them I met Stuart, who was really funny. And he talked me into doing theater. It was powerfully embarrassing, but it was great fun. We had a real lot of fun doing theater together. And we ended up, he and I and a couple of friends, starting a comedy group, a satire group. We were talking back in the 60s, the early to mid 60s. And we started doing the coffee house circuit in Chicago. And we got good. We had fans. We were actually making a little money on the weekends, and we were still in high school. It was great fun. And then we ended up going to the same college. We graduated. We ended up going to the University of Wisconsin together. We were roommates for freshman year, and stayed friends through the whole college experience. But again, I went off and I was a math major, and then I changed over to a literature major. And Stuart went directly into theater and directed some of the most remarkable theater that ever took place on a campus anywhere. And I joined the troupe, Screw Theater, we were called, very clever. And it sort of was Screw Theater. And we had a summer of theater in 1968. And I haven't seen theater anywhere do anything that we didn't do that summer. Well, we did a version of Peter Pan, updated. Peter was a hippie, and there was about an 8-minute nude dance scene in it. And we were busted. And Stuart, at that point, took his theater company and said, okay, that's it. Took his theater company, went to Chicago, and started the Organic Theater. And the rest is history. They did great theater for 15 years in Chicago. And great company, Joe Mantegna, Keith Sarabica, just great actors came through that company. And they did, science fiction. They did a great science fiction 3-part comic book called Warp. They did adaptations of Ray Bradbury. They did adaptations of Roald Dahl. I mean, just terrific theater. And so it was natural to do film. And then Brian Usna came along and saw Stuart's work and thought, here's an opportunity to bring somebody who really knows how to tell a story to the screen. Right at the time when Stuart wanted to go, and the question then was, in the early mid-'80s, what can we do for a low budget? And it was either comedies, really low budget, almost skit comedy, or horror. And we decided not to make that decision, so we did both. First of all, it's a Lovecraft film. One of the ways in which we changed a lot in Lovecraft. Okay, whenever you adapt a story to film, you're changing it. Whenever you adapt literature to film, you're fundamentally changing it in a number of ways. And the whole question of being faithful to the original is questionable. But in Lovecraft's case, it's important because Lovecraft is, for us, he was a major artist, and again, he has a great following. So, but we thought, and we were making serious changes. We were adding female characters, a couple of them, but especially Meg, And there are no female characters in Lovecraft, just about, very few. But you're going to make a movie without, no, you have to. So we added characters, we updated it, we made significant changes to the story, etc. But we remained faithful to the core incidents of the story. To several of the stories. We took a couple of the stories. There are 5 Reanimator stories. We took a couple of them and put them together. We were faithful to the characters, the main characters, especially Herbert West, which Jeffrey captured perfectly.
I gave him life.
And one of the ways you remain faithful to Lovecraft is by trying to do what he was trying to do, which was to go beyond, which was to push those boundaries, to take people or to invite people into places where they had never been before and maybe did not want to go and maybe certainly should not want to go. And that's absolutely what we tried to do. And that's I think, one of the ways in which we, and I think a lot of the audience gives us credit for this, for being faithful to Lovecraft in that sense of pushing those boundaries. And sometimes people are laughing at things that are actually horrible. And that's one of the ways we respond to the horrible, is by laughing. It's a release of tension. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. What we wanted was for the audience to go there with us and then go, what have I done? Stuart and Brian chose it. They always had From Beyond in mind. As soon as Reanimator was done and they knew it looked good in the can, they were looking for the next one to do. Lovecraft was in public domain, which is one of the reasons they chose it to begin with. You could do what you wanted to with Lovecraft. And From Beyond was a very short story, but it was a very powerful story. And again, it had a lot of room to open up, a lot of suggestion in it. And what we started to feel comfortable doing was imagining on those suggestions, taking those suggestions and running with them and seeing what our imagination could awaken and ultimately put on the screen. So From Beyond was perfect for that. It's a very short story. The story's pretty much over before the credits in the film. But the sense of the story is what has been opened up here is terribly dangerous, and that's where we take the story.
It's running itself! Something's coming.
I think one of the things we, perhaps not consciously, but one of the things we really set out to do was to make the craziest movie we could make on that budget. You hope that love bond works to, that it comes through, that your respect for the genre, that your respect for the author, that your respect for the work itself comes through in what you do, in your own sensibility. You have to make it in your own sensibility as well. So to some degree, what you're doing is collaborating with Lovecraft. It's not just taking his story and translating it. It's not a translation, it's a collaboration with Lovecraft. And I feel like we relatively successfully did that, although I'm not sure he wouldn't have walked out in the middle of the process. There are big swaths of that script that never got shot, that are pure Lovecraft, that are about when the resonator is on and working, that you see the other dimension, not just this light, which is the door, not just this awful, god-awful violet, ultraviolet, suggesting ultraviolet doorway to the other dimensions through which these beings come. But we actually saw the interdimensionality of it. It was too expensive to shoot. But it was there. There was more Lovecraft in that movie than actually got onto the screen, and in that script that actually got onto the screen. But the whole idea about the pineal gland, I think, the Lovecraft was very interested in those kinds of things. And research in the pineal gland had been going on during his lifetime. And he was clearly aware of research in those areas. The pineal is, they think, a vestigial remnant of a third eye, of a photo-optic eye that reptiles had, and that you can still find, again, remnants of in birds. And they think the pineal is that remnant. And again, it's about seeing beyond. Reanimator was about bringing the dead back to life, about breaking that barrier. This is about breaking the barrier of our senses and going beyond our senses. And what if you could take your desires beyond our senses? That's Pretorius. That's his character. What if you could take your desires beyond our senses? But what if, like Crawford Tillinghast, you're a good guy, but you're curious, and your curiosity takes you beyond the harrowing price he pays for that. But again, it's about pushing the boundaries, and this time of sensation. And so, of course, you had to investigate sexuality, because sexuality is the fount of human sensation. And that's why that movie takes that particular bent. We were, I was told that Jeffrey and Barbara were going to play those roles. I was thrilled. I thought they were spectacular. They're just terrific actors. They're still terrific actors. It was wonderful working. I didn't get to work with them. I have never been on the set. I got to meet them and know them a little bit, but I've never been on a set in my life. I've been called from the set. Dennis, this isn't working. Can you think of something else? Okay, how about this? But I've never been on the set. I've written parts for myself in pieces that we've done, and they have all been cut. Crawford Tillinghast is really different from Herbert West. He's more of a victim. He's a nicer guy. He goes through a terrible transformation in the course of the film. He is acted upon as opposed to being the primary actor. And it was a challenge to Jeffrey, and we set out to challenge Jeffrey, and it's great fun challenging Jeffrey because he is up to every challenge. Stuart and I have gone back to the theater, and it's been a wonderful thing. The film business is interesting now. We're kind of the whitebeards in the business, and it's and horror took another turn. It became slasher films, and there was a different sensibility took them over. So it was harder for our projects to get funding, and we ended up doing a couple of pieces for TV that I really liked and I'm proud of on the Masters of Horror series. And again, one was Lovecraft. The first one was Lovecraft, was Dreams in the Witch House, and I think Stuart did a terrific job on that. And then we did Poe. Then we finally did our Poe piece. We did the Black Cat with Jeffrey as Poe, as Edgar Allan Poe, in the process of going through the experience through which he imagines and lives through and ultimately writes the story of the Black Cat. And it was a success. And Jeffrey loved playing Poe so much, and Stuart felt so reconnected with Poe. The Organic Theater back in Chicago had done a piece on Poe, on his hallucinations during the time, at the point of his death, in the time that he was missing before his death. They both sort of connected with the project so closely that when they decided, let's just do a theater piece. It's a spectacular piece called Nevermore, An Evening with Edgar Allan Poe. It's been shown around. It's been shown around the country. It was at the Fantasia Film Festival in Montreal. We actually show up at horror film festivals. They want us to do the show. We've been the first theater piece in a number of horror film festivals. We played New York for the Lincoln Center Film Society and Pride of Place on Halloween last year. So if you get a chance to see Jeffrey play Edgar Allan Poe, spare no, it's not expensive, but spare no expense. Fly, go, run, see Jeffrey. It's terrific. He's great. And somebody came to Stuart. Stuart knew a very clever and brilliant, I'd say, composer, Mark Nutter. And they started to noodle the idea of turning Reanimator into a musical. It's not your horror rock musical. There's a few of those out there, It's a much stranger, weirder piece. The sensibility in the music leans toward Lovecraft. I think is a little more faithful to Lovecraft, while it's still funny. And if you come see it, sit in the first 4 rows, sit in the splash zone, if you know what I mean. But we're, again, just to say it out loud, we're really happy that that From Beyond, which in its fullest version was thought to be lost for a while, has been reclaimed and is available. And because it's look at that movie, watch it. It is beautiful. It is crazy, but it is beautiful. I mean, almost every frame is spectacularly shot, and it's you know, and again, and the performances are wonderful, and what happens is totally insane. So we're really proud of this piece, and we're so happy it's available again.